want a second chance. I like proving niggas wrong. I do what they say I can't. They call me Cardi, Cardi, banging body, spicy mommy, hot tamale, hotter than a Somali.
Hello and good morning and welcome to the Short Vol Show. My name is David and I'm happy to see you here on a Monday morning as we'll take a brief look at the markets, but I did want to talk for a second today about a topic which is dear to my heart and sometimes is a little bit misunderstood and is named in different ways, but this is the topic of beta slippage, and it has to do with the decay we find at times in leverage products, leveraged ETFs. The more leveraged, the more we find them to slowly decay over time. And it has to do with rebalancing. And rebalancing is a process where a fund is the amount of futures that a fund owns or is short is adjusted on a basis over time. It's usually like daily, can be a couple times a day. And what ends up happening with leverage instruments a lot of times is as because the fund's objective is to have a certain performance over a one-day period, it needs to adjust its holdings to try to approximate that whatever its goal is as best it can. And a lot of times that results in a situation which we call negative scalping, where a leveraged ETF will buy a certain amount of futures on the way up, and then as things head back down, they have to sell them back out again, and they end up buying futures at a certain price and selling them out at a cheaper price, and which results in a loss. So, and same to the downside. They if the index that they're trying to approximate is falling, they will sell a certain amount of futures so that they can approximate that 2 times or 3 times leverage to the downside, and then as the index or whatever they're trying to approximate moves in the opposite direction, they have to go ahead and buy those futures that they sold back again. And this can create a decay. And when we talk about the VIX, this is an added-on decay to the decay we see from contango-related rebalancing. So contango-related rebalancing would be like today we're going to buy a September future to replace one of our August futures to keep the maturity out to 30 days, the average maturity out to 30 days, whereas a beta slippage type thing would be, well, UVXY went up today, and so because it's leveraged 1.5 times, we have to buy a little bit extra futures as it moves up. And then tomorrow it goes back down, and now we have to sell out those futures and sell a little extra on top of it to approximate 1.5 times to the downside. And there is a way we can track UVXY and see exactly how much of the slippage we are dealing with. And one of the ways, the way we can do that is by comparing the price of UVXY to an index that would be the theoretical price of UVXY with no sort of beta slippage, and see the difference. So thank you to Michael Listman for turning me on to this particular index, but the one is called SPVXSP.ID. So there's SPVXTR, and then there's this one, which is I can't think of a way to say it as a word, but let's take a look at this index and what, and here it is right here. I believe it shows on the PSE, but if we take a look at this chart, we could overlay the chart of UVXY on this, and we would see that UVXY is a little bit lower, and the difference you could call the would be the amount of beta slippage. So let's take a look here. So here's the chart, and then let's see. I'm gonna have to do this like off the air and overlay the UVXY chart because I'm not entirely sure how to use this particular charting setup. But essentially, you take this chart, you overlay UVXY. UVXY is going to be lower by a little bit, and that little bit is the beta slippage. And this can be very significant over time. Let's look through a little bit of this UVXY trader tweets from this is from February, and he talks about in these tweets about the beta slippage, and this is a kind of decay that it's very hard to predict what's going to happen ahead of time because it really depends and it really varies based on the price action day to day of VIX futures. So if you've got several days in a row of VIX futures moving one way, then you could actually get this to actually not it's basically a tracking error type situation between the actual movement of the futures and the way UVXY trades, and so or the way UVXY is able to approximate it. So you can actually get a situation where the this action reverse and actually it adds on to UVXY, and UVXY is actually higher than it theoretically should be. But the times you get the most beta slippage are when you've got a big up day and then a big down day after. When it's trending in one direction, this is not such a big deal. And the fact that this has been deleveraged from 2 times to 1.5 times, it really cuts back this particular feature. It can be helpful to look at like a 3 times leverage product because other products exhibit this as well. Many other products do not exhibit the decay of contango that UVXY does, but many other leveraged ETPs, all the ones that are like 2 or 3 times leveraged, exhibit some sort of beta slippage. And the one that I was following for a while was UGAZ. UGAZ and DGAZ. So if you look at a 5-year chart of UGAZ, you see it going down from, it shows 40,000. That's obviously from a bunch of splits. And then it's DGAZ is its opposite, the inverse of it. And if you go to 5 years, that one's off the highs as well. It's weird how it's going up like that. So, well, anyways, that's a longer chart where you do see that it's going down. So they're both going down over time in the long run, and that's ultimately due to this beta slippage decay. And any double or triple leverage funds will exhibit this. And so so it became obvious to me right away, like, hey, if they're both going down, why not sell both of them and just wait, and you'll make money in the long run. And the problem that people have faced with selling both of them and waiting for the long run is that you have to kind of balance what you're selling the right way, and so that you have an equal amount of both ones dollar-wise, and so you have to kind of rebalance what you're selling, and B, it costs money to short these things. So there are other strategies like maybe selling out of the money calls in both of them, but it can get a little tricky, and it can be like not the greatest use of your capital over a long period of time, although it will work over a long period of time that these kind of things do go down. I hope I haven't lost too many people on this one. I have to go back, and I really want to go back and actually overlay the UVXY and this this other chart so that you can actually see the difference between the two of them that is represented by beta slippage, and actually graphically illustrate that. So I will do that off the air and produce that for you. In the meantime, let's take a look at the markets today. We do have VIX up 26 cents. I did watch the show Volatility Views last Friday. Please check that show out and support Options Insider Radio. Support my buddy Mark. And it's incredibly interesting stuff. And part of the show is you have to predict where the VIX will be on Friday. And I got that. I was like, got that totally wrong last Friday, as the VIX did move up from the show. I had predicted 11.99, and it went out at 12.50, 12.60, something like that. But regardless, it's a fun show. It's great to listen to Mark. I was listening back over the show, and I still need to practice on. Oh, there's the bell. Still need to practice on my experience with. I was kind of not stuttering, but I was using a lot of ums and uhs and these kind of things that you say when you're nervous. I was saying those, like, not stuttered speech, but just speech patterns that you say when you're nervous. I kept saying, you know this and you know that. So that was kind of weird. Anyway, so quick look at the markets as the bell opens. We do have Tesla down 11 on news that they were trying to, that Tesla's trying to get back rebate money from parts that they already ordered, something like that. It's basically like a news story that's obviously bearish and symptomatic that they are bleeding money. They definitely are operating at a loss in Tesla. So it's one of those strange stocks where it's like, I looked at the balance sheets and stuff, and I was like, ooh, it doesn't look good. But the stock continues to move forward. It was offered below at $300, but now it's a couple bucks off that right now. It looks like it's opening around 303, down 10 and change. Meanwhile, UVXY, the VIX up 39 cents. And however, futures kind of slumping. There was a buck and change between the VIX spot and the M1 future, and that's kind of decaying a little bit now, which is making it so that even though the VIX is up, futures are slightly down. That distance between spot and the M1 future, it's like a cushion. So if you've got on a day when the VIX rallies and comes up towards the futures, the cushion kind of contracts, and in this case, like, the VIX is up a teeny bit and the future is down a teeny bit, so they're coming together. But the only thing that actually is reflected in UVXY's price is, of course, the futures, and so the futures down a teeny bit means UVXY basically unchanged. Well, actually, now the futures are flat. So UVXY up a penny, futures are flat. So you've got a situation where VIX spot up a little bit, but the future is not really budging as the cushion between the two contracts. And, you're going to get people, of course, online that say, well, this is a scam. The VIX is up 39 cents and UVXY is only up a penny right now. But once again, my two hands here, the top hand is the only one. It would represent the futures, and that's the only one that UVXY is based on. This bottom hand representing the VIX, that can go up a little bit or down a little bit. And if the futures don't move with it, you're not going to get a move in UVXY. And this distance between my hands right now reflects the distance that these two will converge necessarily, definitely before expiration. So that's all the wiggle room. This distance between my hands is the wiggle room that the term structure gives between the spot and the future. So right now, futures down a teeny bit VIX up a teeny bit. So this is what happened since the weekend. Spot moved up a little bit, the futures moved down a little bit, and that's it. And so it's not really a scam. It's just the way the term structure ends up working. And let me see if I can pull up my screen here. That's weird. For some reason, my screen is not coming up. Let's try something else. Window capture. And all right. So for some reason, my screen capture is not coming up. So we're going to do something different and put this window capture up, and it'll be the same thing. Okay, so here we have my Thinkorswim screen, and let's take a look at UVXY. And down 3 cents once again. Short premium are winners. Everybody else, not a whole lot going on either way in the trade with UVXY down 4 cents. But if you sold some options, then you'll collect the decay today. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the VIX term structure, and I'm going to do this window capture thing again, seeing as my screen is kind of funky. And we will pick up, let's see, we can pick up the Chrome. There we go. All right. And here we have VIX Central. Thanks to a user, I found a new thing with VIX Central where you can change the theme to it. Let's see if I can find that. There's a way you can change the theme to VIX Central to the theme of your choice. So this guy Learns is the one who showed it to me. So if you type in your URL at the top, VIX Central / theme equals, and you can change it. This is theme 10 here. You can change it to theme 9. There's different themes you can have with your VIX Central. So very fancy. Currently, contango showing at 0.58%. So steady as she goes on the VIX term structure and contango. And there we go. I'll move myself out of the way here. So we have an exciting week ahead. Interviews coming out soon, and thanks everybody for watching as we enter the week. We'll see what happens. If this will be, I'm going to predict, bold prediction, I'm going to predict that this is the week that we do break the all-time low. So we'll see what happens. Major indices down slightly right now, but this could be the week we break the all-time low. We will have to wait and see, though, however. Let's take a look at major news stories right now. Trump tweet bomb threatens Iranian president. Trump warns Iranian's president never ever threaten the United States again. And let's see what else we have in the news. Musk is a total fraud, Callahan says. So I guess besides this like pedophile tweet, there was another thing with Elon Musk with this unicorn. I don't know if you saw this one. He was using a unicorn from this pottery mug, and I guess he used it without giving them credit, and like the people wanted to be paid off because they used their mug, and I guess he paid the company paid them off. But you know, some negative press about Elon Musk, but we really haven't seen it translate into Tesla, really. Actually, now Tesla down 17, so taking a little bit of heat here. Let's see if we can find some Tesla news stories here. Tesla stock down 17. 24% of Tesla Model 3's orders have been canceled, analyst says. Tesla shares drop after car maker reportedly asked its suppliers for refunds to reach profitability. That's what I was talking about earlier. Tesla is reportedly requesting its suppliers to give cash back from previous payments to help the car maker become profitable. The Wall Street Journal cites a Tesla memo asking a supplier to return a meaningful amount of its payments since 2016. Now, if we look at the chart for Tesla, which we can do by me getting my mug out of the way here and bringing it up, we can see that the low, if we back it up to 180 days, we can see that the low was like down around this 270 area back in May. And we're getting closer to that area right now. So let's see, Tesla now down 18. So definitely taking some heat today. We'll see if that, I guess that 280 level holds, maybe 275. Let's back it up to 3 years. Yeah, so Tesla not looking so great right now. There's the chart for 3 years. And if I move myself out of the way, you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, so there's the 3-year chart, and we'll have to see what happens. It's definitely gone down a little bit more over the last 5 minutes since I've been talking now, and currently down, it says 6%, so a big move for Tesla today. And sorry about that. All right, so thanks for watching, and good luck trading today. It seems like an exciting trading environment as we move into the morning. And I will see you shortly on the next short vol show.
I know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. In the moment that you wander far